your spirit.
Holy, holy,
Lord, let your
Spirit,
spirit
fall
down on me.
Oh, let your
Lord,
spirit,
let your spirit.
everlasting spirit,
Lord, let your
I
spirit.
need the holy, holy, holy spirit.
Your
I
spirit.
am waiting on your Holy Spirit.
Your spirit.
Let your spirit
Your spirit.
fall down.
Lord, let your spirit.
Let the Holy, Holy Spirit fall down on me.
Fall down on me.
Fall down.
Fall down on me.
Fall down on me.
All right. Good morning, we'll say. Good morning, we'll say community. How is everyone doing? I hope you are all as excited and thankful that we woke up this morning on this beautiful Sunday morning, that we start off by listening to the beautiful songs and sounds of the Stones of Fire. Love that voice, and Sister Remy with such a beautiful, beautiful voice. It kind of brings us into the spirit of we'll say. It brings us into this community to welcome and join in and bless and praise with one another and lift up the voice and lift up the spirit of the Most High. I say, we are the we'll say community. House of Amun Ra, the Wosei community, spiritual African community, African spirit, Ashe. And the beautiful message or the music that was played by Minister Imhotep of who we are. We are the Wosei community, and we follow the way, Ashe, Ashe. And if you get an opportunity to listen to it and read over that, our statement, again and again, and understand and let it get into your soul. Let it touch your heart. Let it touch all aspects of you and to help bring out that joy. Ashe, Ashe. At this point in time, right now, in our service, it's time for the affirmation. And if I can call my dear sister Afua and my good brother Katabasi, if they can come forward and read the affirmation, yes?
Yes, indeed. Good morning, good afternoon. We'll say family, beloved, we'll say community. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, to be with you all and to share with my sister for the Wosei community affirmation. And we should recall that this affirmation has been presented every week for more than 40 years, and very few words have been changed. And so it's a affirmation of our principles, our beliefs, our lifestyles. And so it helps us to get a broader vision of ourselves and help us to go through our days and our week. And then at the end of the week, to nourish ourselves, to replenish ourselves again, we have the Wosei community affirmation. And it begins. We will know God's truth to be free and self-determined.
The Creator, help us to remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors, and to honor the struggles of our elders.
Let us strive to bring new vision and life to our people. Let there be peace and harmony amongst us.
Let us be loving, sharing, and creative. Let us work, study, and listen so we may learn, teach, and cultivate self-reliance.
Grant us power, O Holy One, as we struggle to resurrect our hearts and our homeland.
We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation, with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will strive to be the living models of the new direction of our people.
We are an African people.
We are children of God.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And so as we move on, now it is that time in our program where we light the candle of justice, where we illuminate something that is going on in our community. And to do that, we had her give a powerful prayer earlier. And so now I'll call on my dear sister, Mama Ngina, if you can come in and illuminate for us what is on your mind, sister.
Good morning again, and blessings to all. My candle of justice today is going to be on the Black Lives Matter movement. I have a couple of readings from the Hosea, the Book of Wise Instruction, and the first one is on page 42. And it says, if you are parents of worth and wisdom, train your children so that they will be pleasing to God. And if they do what is right, following your example and handling your affairs as they should, do for them all that is good. The next one is on page 48. And it says, if a son or daughter accept the righteous teachings of their parents, none of their plans will go wrong. Teach your children then to be those who hear well. They will be valued, and those of weight and substance, and their speech will be informed by those who have heard. And I want to just talk a little bit about the Black Lives Matter. It was started by three sisters, Sister Alicia, Sister Patrice, and Sister Opal. And it was started in 2013. It has now gone all over the United States and is probably known all over the world. The Black Lives Matter is a social movement dedicated to fighting racism and police brutality against Black people and other people, other people. And it is now all over the world. This candle of justice is for those brave young people. They say that the youth are only a part of our population, but they are 100% of our future. They are the future. So those people, those young people, mostly young people, there were some other people that were part of it, but they took to the streets knowing that they will probably be pepper sprayed, that they will probably be shot with rubber bullets, that they would be abused. They knew that, but they still did it. That's the kind of tenacity, the kind of strength, the kind of courage that we need today to stand up and say, no matter what the consequences may be, I'm going to do this anyway. And we did ours in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Baba Imhotep at State, Minister Mxolisi talks about what happened in Merritt College. But now we can be proud and pray for the strength and the continued conviction of these awesome warriors who took to the streets this summer and who they've been working for a long time. But this summer it came front and center right in our faces. But they took that step knowing what would happen to them. So I light this candle of justice this morning for all of those brave warriors that are there, that will come after them, and that will continue to be there. Ashe. So you can light your candle for the youth that are our future. Ashe.
Ashe, thank you very much. Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. and now we're going to bring forth, but I'm going to have to say something. Brother David and Sister Latrice, the sounds of my eye. Who's that in the background waving? Was that Latrice? I got you. And I just want to say, we're trying to put together a rehearsal for some of the Stones and the sounds of my eye at the We'll Say Oakland Sanctuary, you know, and it's been over a year since we've actually sung together. I haven't sang with a group or band or nothing in over a year. And it was something Baba Atai had did a three-way with myself and David, and to just the excitement of just talking, listen to him talk. They were talking, we were going to do this song, and David was like, is it in A or is it in G? And, you know, how many steps up does it go? And, you know, and it was just exciting, even though we haven't had a chance to sit down and actually do a single song together. Just the excitement and the fervor for me to talk about music in the sense that this is what we're going to do, that we're going to talk about singing, we talk about music, and it just brought so much joy. And so I love it. And so to keep it going, I'm going to just bring forth Mama Latrice and Brother David to share with us some of the sounds of my and David. Boy, I'm telling you, just that conversation, not even one song or a microphone check, but it had me excited. So looking forward. Come on forward, sounds of my
Thank you, Baba Sydney, for your amazing, energetic introduction once again. He's so good at that. He brings the energy every time, doesn't he, family? So we're gonna share with you something that Spirit is gonna lead us to do. Okay, I'll let you take it from there, spouse.
Your silent praise. I hear your silent praise. You're never alone. No. There's a sweet spirit in this place. I know it's the spirit of my ancestors. Oh, you are never alone. Just call my name. I'll hear every word you say. Ooh, I hear your silent praise. Oh, you are never alone. Weeping may endure for night, but joy comes with the morning light. You are never alone. Just call my name. I hear every word you say. Just call my name. I hear your silence. You are never alone. Just call my name.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Boy, just there's a thing that I've heard and I believe about genius, and real true genius are the ones who can make something difficult just seem so simple. Just sit down and I'm just gonna quietly sing, and it's like, it seemed like I could just get on the mic and we can all do that, knowing that we can't. But that is true genius. And sounds of my eye, Mama Latrice, boy, that is genius in motion and in vibration. I say, I'm grinning. I'm loving this. I don't know about y'all. So, but now it's a time in our service where we do a historical tribute. It's that time when we remember and we capture and we highlight just an aspect, a simple aspect or singular aspect or event in our history. We try and capture at least 5 to 7 generations of our history, because if we don't continue to pass this information forward, it'll just go away. And speaking of, like I said, I mentioned brother Ty, and he is one of the ones who's always working, always got ideas going on. This mind is always working. He's the one that called the meeting between David and myself, and Ty put it all together, and just to get back and forth in these conversations about what key it's on, what song we're going to do. We're going to do charts, we're going to listen to music, and just it's just fantastic. So at this particular point in time, I want to call my brother Ty, if you can come on and share with us some of that genius that you have. Make it plain, make it simple, break it down for us, okay, Shay? And so calling on Brother Ty to come in and give us the historical tribute.
Okay, so I'm in Rahotep Wose. And let me start by saying, Mama Latrice and Baba David, your two instruments are beautiful together. Thank you very much for that. Mm-hmm. Okay, this month of April, we in Wose are honoring and remembering ancestors from the Stones of Fire. We opened this morning's service with Sister Olaremi. And so today's historical tribute is going to be from another ancestor from the Stones of Fire. This wasn't originally done as a tribute, but I've been doing tributes for I've done many tributes at Wose, and this is as good, if not better, than any tribute that I've ever done. So I would like to bring you Brother Obrafo. 1 second.
A wise man was once asked, "Whatever happened to the people of Sumer?" His question saddened the sage, and as he turned to his student, with a tear rolling down the side of his face, he said, "They forgot their history. Therefore, they are no more."
Down by the shores of West Africa, where we were enslaved, and where we wept, with our families torn asunder, down by the shores of West Africa, where we were enslaved, and where we wept, with our families torn asunder, where the wicked they carried us away to captivity, and then required from us a song. How can we sing a holy song in this strange land, where the wicked they carried us away to captivity, and then required from us a song? How can we sing a holy song in the strange land? So let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Jireh. Ships once sailed from Africa with kings and queens of old. They journeyed to a distant land, stripped down to their soul. Spirits cried relentlessly, "Let my people go." Spirits longing to be free. Let my people go. When Africans were brought to America, and my people go, they were oppressed so hard they could not stand. Let my people go. Go down, Harriet Tubman, Now you tell all slave owners, let my people go. Now black tracks walked creation many a mile. But God's first people are still a people on trial. Footprints in the sand, were they erased by the wind? Was it an era of pencil or pen? Black faces, black traces, black races in time. The wind cannot carry black tracks from black minds. Black tracks in the blood cannot be denied. Though many have covered the truth with a lie.
Come on, get that.
So go down, Marcus Garvey. Go down, Mary McLeod Bethune. Go down, Malcolm X. You spread it across the Western world. Now you tell all oppressors to let my people go. Now the mystery of his story cannot hide the facts. It takes more than 4 centuries to cover up black tracks. Black faces, black traces, black races in time. The wind cannot carry black tracks from black minds. Black faces, black traces, black races in time. The wind cannot carry black tracks from black minds. So go down, Stephen Biko. Go down, Nelson and Winnie Mandela. Go down, Bishop Tutu. Down in Azania. Now you tell them apartheid to let my people go. Black faces, black traces, black races in the time the wind cannot carry. Black tracks from a black minds. Follow the African road. I'm building me a home.
Sorry.
Woo! Wow.
Wow, 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 wow.
Wow.
Serious.
Thank you, Ty.
Yeah,
Woo.
give us the whole history.
Ah,
Sorry.
Thank you, Baba Ty. Mm.
mhm.
You are just so special, my brother. So special.
Thank you. Brother Obrafo was special. I'm just passing it along, but thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Sorry for your other song, it slipped.
Still perfect.
Yeah, no need to apologize. Boy, I had to pour a couple of drops of water, life's blood into the earth to honor this brother Obrafo. Man, what a beautiful voice and what a powerful, powerful presentation. And that's what we're talking about. That right there. And the pick man, beautiful. I see you done got another skill putting these
videos together, these photos, and go on with it.
Not gonna be outdone by Minister Imhotep or Brother Jeff. You know, I love that healthy competition. So that is really, really beautiful. The only thing I can say to follow that up right now is I'm just gonna have to call on the sounds of my aunt, just Brother David, Brother Latrice, if you guys could just come on and just give us a little something so we could sit back and reflect on what we just saw. If you could do
it feels like we need to let it breathe for like at least 20 seconds. Woo.
Woo! Yes.
We might be joined by our youngest singer today.
All right.
Maybe not. Okay.
You must be grateful.
must show joy. You know your crown, it's already paid for. All you got to do is put it on. And all you do in all you do, you must be grateful. You must show joy. Oh, please, don't let them steal your joy. Don't let them steal your joy. Oh, don't let them steal your joy. And all you do, you must be grateful. And all you do, you must show joy. Please bring me joy. Please bless the world with your joy. Joy is an act of resistance. Please bring your joy. Please bring your joy. Please bring your joy.
As brother Minister Imhotep is so apt to say, where can we pick that up at? You know, that is another golden hit right there, boy. Woo! You guys come up with these number one after number one after number one. It does that vary, boy. That is beautiful.
Thank
Brother
you
David?
so very much.
Ah, man, thank you, boy. We needed that. Yeah, that just brought us back to good space, beautiful. This has been such a beautiful service today. And before we move on to the our litany of sacrifice, so you can start going through getting your stuff prepared, I'm gonna have my wife give out a couple more shout outs, give a hug and a virtual hug and a kiss to somebody. Help me out, wife.
Yes, I will gladly. And I must mention Sydney's one of his favorite other mamas, Mama Rose, because I'll be in trouble if she's with us today. Mama Rose, we love you. Directly from your one of your other sons. He's here. You're here. We're so happy to see you here or know you are here with us. Our sister Bobby, one of my favorite Sacramento sisters, she's here and she's going to be doing the Litany of Sacrifice. So we're glad to see you. Brother Hanif is here. Sister Fanya is here. Sister Jill Campbell is here with us. We have, of course, our part of our huge production team, Baba Jeff and Baba Bill is here today. Sister Gloria, who also has a lovely, lovely voice. We're so happy when you're here with us. Baba Alaman is here. So yay, in the house, Baba Alaman. Brother John and his wife Marilyn were here today and still here with us. And I'm going to leave it at that. And just kudos for the new song. We enjoyed all the lyrics. The first song you did was just like another prayer. And we thank you for your genius.
Thank you. And I kind of see out my right eye. My right eye is better than my left eye. I look like Foxy Brown. Is that you there?
Yeah, that's her.
See out my good eye. Okay. Thank you very much. Now is the time in our service where we actually have to put forth from our own storehouses, you know, to be able to continue to feed this community, to continue to pay the bills, to pay the mortgages or the rents, and to get the money to keep this thing going. So I'm going to turn it over to Sister Bobby and my dear brother, Brother Bill. If you guys can come in and help us with the Litany of Sacrifice, Ashe.
Shay. Good morning, we'll say family. Morning. At this point of the service, we have the opportunity to give. And as someone said earlier, I know the people have been going through changes with the COVID, but one thing that's always consistent is those bills. And as Brother Sidney said, we need the bills paid, I will say, to keep this thing moving, to keep the community fed. So what I like to do this morning is I'm going to read from Hosea on page 47, number 13. And if you have your book handy, please follow along. Be generous as long as you live. What goes into the storehouse should come out, for bread is made to be stored. Those whose bellies are empty turn into accusers, and those who are deprived become opponents. See that none such as these are your neighbors. Generosity is a memorial for those who show it, long after they have departed. So, as you see, the addresses for Woolsey, Oakland and Woolsey, Sacramento is displayed on your screen, the Litany of Sacrifice. I think I'm supposed to start reading, Bill. No? Okay, there we go. Mm-hmm.
Can you help out with that screen, someone?
Yes.
You have to scroll down, Bill.
And
Bill, we're still seeing the addresses.
yeah, we're still seeing the addresses. Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess he's working on it.
Okay. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the God of our ancestors. We will fulfill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly, we bring our sacrifices to you. We will praise your name, O Amun-Ra, for it is good.
Okay. Imani, faith. We will believe with all our hearts in our God, our people, and in our righteousness and victory of our struggles.
Umoja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Kugachagalia, self-determination. We shall define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses and together profit from them.
Kaumba, creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation at the building and developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness. Amen Ra.
Ashe.
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 Do a prayer.
Can someone give the closing prayer?
I'll lift us in prayer and continue this. Pray to God, we are so thankful to have this beautiful community, to have our beautiful Iliama Day, to have us all together, and to be able to use this beautiful Zoom format so we can continue to grow together. Thank you for everyone who was able to make a share today out of their coffers. And we know everyone, we may not be able to give what we want, but if we give anything and talents and time are important. They're very important. So we thank everyone who's able to give. We thank everybody who is here, and we're just so blessed to have this community, and it's our job to keep it going. It's our job, and we're blessed with that job. So let's continue to do our work and be thankful, be grateful, just be grateful. Ashe, amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
All
That's
right.
what I love about Wilson community. We jump in. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much. As you surely observed, my own Zoom decided not to work for just a second there.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I knew you was there, Bill.
And y'all made a big jump.
Thank you.
So now as we move forward to another one of my favorite parts of the service, every service, you know that the opening, the drum call, the opening song is one of my favorites, and the libation, you know that's one of my favorites. The circle prayer is one of my favorites. The candle of justice, I love it. The historical tribute, leave me, there's nothing I can say to top what it is that it has done. The sounds of my art, they blessed us with some beautiful music and some spiritual resignation that has us all moving. And we move on to the Litany of Sacrifice, which is a most important part of the service, which is one of the favorites because it keeps us moving, it keeps us going. That's that blood force that runs through us, keeps everything moving and lubricated, helps those wheels continue to move. So now is that other favorite part of the service. This is where we have our message for the day. And our message for the day comes from the messenger. Shay, we're calling on our dear brother minister Mxolisi, who always stirs it up, always brings that word, keeps us in a prayerful position, keeps our spirits high. And with that, I want to bring in my dear brother minister Mxolisi. So one day, come in and give us something today, brother. Take us on.
Ashe. I'm in Ra-Hetep, we'll see. I'm in Ra-Hetep. Let me start off with this. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, I'm in Ra. Beautiful, I'm in Ra. Shine on me. Till my heart and soul are one with thee, and your beauty comes from within me. The teachings of our way say no one is without some of your beauty. Oh, Amin Ra, shine on me till I see your beauty in me. Oh, beautiful, Beautiful Amin Ra, beautiful Amin Ra, shine on me till my heart and soul are one with thee, and your beauty comes from within me. Till my heart and soul are one with thee, and your beauty comes from within me. Amin Ra Hetep will say, Ashe Amin Ra Hetep. Just giving thanks and praises for this day of life, health, and strength. Oh, Creator, just giving thanks for another day that you've continued to entrust the measure of your sacred essence to me, to each of us, as we continue striving to grow, to know the power of that reality, to bring it to full measure, to full essence upon our lives, upon our families, our communities, the world in which we live. We just give thanks and praises for your generosity, for your wisdom, for your compassion. We pray that you will continue to lead us and guide us as we continue discovering, developing, rising up in this sacred African way to make life more beautiful and beneficial for ourselves, for our people, for our generations yet to come, ultimately for the totality of humanity. Lead us and guide us on this path. Lead us and guide us by this power. Lead us and guide us by the power of your beauty, seeking to manifest itself in and through us. Help us to go and being willing, being able, being conscious, being brave and bold enough to let that manifests itself in and through us. It's by the power of your spirit and essence within that these words are raised up and say, Ashe, Amin Ra, Ashe. Oh, we'll say, before I get started with this message, I just want to share with you, so we already mentioned earlier when the libations were being offered that one of our beloved sisters has been called home, Sister Mother Aset Harvera Bonar, and I've been in conversation with her sons, Benjamin and Stephen, and so they shared with me that in about 3 weeks or so, when they anticipate that they will be receiving the ashes from her cremation, they intend to come to Oakland to scatter the ashes. And I'm not sure where they're going to do that. They're going to communicate that back to me, and I'll be communicating that to Sister Ngina for one, and maybe to some others. But if possible, when we get the date and time, the location of that, if you're available and willing, you can go and join them in that process, join them in that ceremony. So I just wanted to share that with you right now. Ashe. Okay. Got a little message here today. And first I want to read from a couple of passages in the Hosea. First in the book of Knowing the Creations, on page 7 in the Hosea, passage number 3, the 4 good deeds of the Creator. These are words spoken by the one whose names are hidden, the Lord of all, speaking before those who silence the storm during the sailing of the company of Ra. Hail in peace. I repeat to you the 4 good deeds which my own heart and mind did for me in the midst of the serpent coil of evil, in order to silence the turmoil. I did 4 good deeds on the threshold of the horizon. I created the 4 winds, so that every person might breathe in his or her time and place. This is one of the deeds. I created the great flood for irrigation, so that the humble might benefit from it like the great. This too is one of the deeds. I made every person like his and her fellow, and I did not command them to do evil. It was in their own hearts and minds which caused them to disobey that which I commanded. This too is one of the deeds. I made the hearts of men and women so that they would not forget the day of death, so that sacred offerings might be made to the divine powers of the districts. And this too is one of the deeds. Thus, I have created the divine powers from my sweat and humankind from the tears of my eye. Then secondly, I'd like to share with you a passage that I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, are familiar with from the book of Ptah-hotep, page 42, number 4. Be diligent as long as you live, always doing more than is commanded of you. Do not misuse your time while following your heart, for it is offensive to the soul to waste one's time. Do not lose the opportunity, the daily opportunity to increase that which you have. Diligence produces gains, and gains do not endure when diligence is abandoned. So from those passages, I've been led to put something under this title: keeping our hearts and minds on Mot in the midst of the serpent coil of evil. So this passage, the 4 good deeds of the Creator, this passage, as I understand it, is sharing with us the perceptions of our ancient spiritual warriors, the priests, that the bringing forth of the creation of truth, justice, and righteousness was not, is not an accomplishment without extremely serious challenges. In this passage, those challenges are identified as the serpent coil of evil, the coils, if you will, of Apophis, a serpentine force, a snake-like force that existed in the undifferentiated chaos of the pre-creation watery abyss. A force that would do, and that does do, all that it can in every way it can for the continuation, for the restoration of that pre-creation undifferentiated darkness and chaos. Serpent coil of evil. This passage is letting us know that the spiritual warriors, those priests of our ancient motherland, heard and felt the message of the Most High, that its heart and mind empowered her to overcome the destructive desires of Apophis, and therefore bring into being the four winds, and therefore provide an environment suitable for those to be created in the image and likeness of the Most High. In addition to that, the Most High let it be known that the power of its heart and mind, overflowing with Mot, created the great floods for the irrigation of the nutritions of creation, nutritions for the health and well-being of one and all. Furthermore, hear and feel that the Most High say, I make every person like his and her fellow, with a measure of my essence, a measure of my own omnipotence, a heart and mind by which to confront and overcome the destructive and evil impulses of Apophis vibrations, to confront and overcome the destructive and evil impulses of the coils of evil, or not. And within those hearts and minds, the reality of the day of death and the desire to be cherished and respected by a surviving family, by the community, in their rituals and their libations, that desire will haunt those who choose Apophis vibrations as their way of life, over and above the truth, the beauty, the goodness of the Ma'at way of life, the Ma'at inspired, the Ma'at empowered way of life and existence. It was in the midst of the serpent coil of evil, in the midst of those vibrations of Apophis, with my heart and mind, the Creator is saying, my heart and mind focused on Ma'at, that I created all that exists, from the sweat of my brow and the tears of my eyes, in order to silence that evil turmoil. So our ancestors realized that the dynamic, that the demonic eruptions of Apophis inspired behaviors was an ongoing challenge. And there was strong belief that the rituals performed by the king, the pharaoh, if you will, helped to maintain order in the world. Additionally, it came to be that the entire population, more or less, came to understand that human beings played an important role in the working of the universe, and that humanity was not just a passive bunch of recipients of all the gifts of the Most High, but they were vital components in the operation of the universe. That it was crucially important to keep their hearts and minds on Ma'at in order to keep the serpent coils of evil under control. They came to understand, as Ptahhotep advised, that you got to be diligent. You got to be diligent. As long as you live, always, always, always doing more than is commanded of you. Do not misuse your time while following your heart, for it is offensive to the soul to waste one's time. You know, we had a little bit of a discussion about, whoa, wait, how is following your heart misusing your time? Well, you know, I had experience when, you know, when you're working on something and you might be learning something new and move into a higher level, a higher dimension of understanding the presence, the essence, the spirit of the Most High within, and what it empowers and calls you to do. And while you're on the verge of a higher level of understanding, something might come along and draw your attention. You look around and start looking at something else, and maybe something on the television, if you allow yourself to be reading the Husia in front of the TV. But it takes your attention away. And so I understood that that's what this is saying. Don't misuse your time. Don't let anything divert you away from studying, praying, meditating, growing, and knowing the power, the essence of the Most High in you, and what it's calling you, empowering you, commanding you to do. Stick with that. You gotta stick with that to the finish from the start. Let nothing lead you away to misuse your time. Do not lose the daily opportunity to increase that which you have. Diligence produces gains, and gains do not endure when diligence is abandoned. Because them serpent coils of evil, they never rest. They never rest. You know, in my heart and mind, it seems to me that this is related to the 300 feast days of the year that our Kemetic ancestors had. You know, in addition to the 5 epigomenal days that they had at the end of each year, those 5 days, we talked about that a little while back, a few weeks back. There was 5 epigomenal days that was not part of any month of the year, but they took time out to really focus on their spiritual, their spirituality, their teachings, and what they should be doing with their lives. But said in addition to those 5 days, they had 300 what they call feast days throughout the year. So it just seems in my mind, this is what's got to be done? 300, we do 50 on the Zoom station, and who knows? We're doing those 50, 52 on Wednesdays. And so those who are attending on a regular basis, we need to be about this business every day, if not every hour of our lives. And we got to keep our hearts and minds on Mott if we're going to overcome and defeat those serpent coils of evil and that desire, that energy, that essence. We talk about they're the opposites in creation, and that opposite that wants to stand against and defy Ma'at, that wants to stand against and defy truth, justice, and right order is always at work, And so we've got to be diligent and not misuse our time while following our hearts, but follow that heart to the finish from the start. 5 epagomenal days, 300 feast days, 365 if you possibly can, to do all we can in every way we can to make life more beautiful, more beneficial for ourselves, for our loved ones, for our people, ultimately for all of humanity. A little research helps us to understand that this way of life was maintained by our people. I mean, through all the ups and downs, they kept to this 300 feast days a year. This keeping their hearts and minds focused on Ma'at, in knowing that it required this to confront, to overcome the serpent coils of evil. And a little research helps us to know that this went on for thousands of years with our people. Like I said, there was the ups and the downs, and it wasn't until the 4th century CE, 4th century AD, if you will, with the rise of Christianity, after all the Kemetic institutions had been shut down by the Greeks, by the Romans, by the Alexandrian, whoever, and all those invaders who came in to steal our legacy, came in to take it and rename it and reclaim it and try to say they did this and they did that, when we know it was our ancestors that put it all together. It wasn't until they finally forced, not spiritually, but militarily, not spiritually, but commercially, materially pursuits, forced the closure of our institutions, our spiritual schools. And 4th century CE, 4th century AD. At this time, the Kemetic motto for humanity as co-workers with nature, as co-workers with the Most High, was replaced with a new one in which human beings were seen as fallen creatures, unworthy of any deity, and utterly dependent upon their God's Son, not S-U-N anymore, but S-O-N, and his sacrifice for their salvation. A new way of life. Humans were now considered recipients of a gift that they had not earned and did not deserve. And the Son, the S-U-N, the Son lost its distinct personality and purpose, and to become another one of the Christian God's creations. Apophis, however, the serpent coils of evil, however, would live on in the Christian mythology, the Christian theology, becoming one with that force they knew as Satan, who worked tirelessly to overturn divine order and bring chaos. So what must we do? What can we do? What must we do to keep our hearts and minds in the spirit of Ma'at? To keep the power of Ma'at in the midst of the serpent coil of evil. You know, and it seems to me that we should have learned some things in our month of March, that month of meditations, that we need to continue throughout the year, and every year for that matter. You know, in the context of Kemetic philosophy, Kemetic theology being a system to provide for the union of our individual souls with the universal soul, and give every one of us insight into our own divine nature. We need to develop a meditative way of life. Such a life that leads to control of our minds, to the dismissal of unwanted thoughts and unwanted imaginations. You know, as the virtue said, we got to control our thoughts. And if we can control our thoughts, that's the first step in controlling our actions, and not let these worthless, pointless, destructive thoughts, you know, dance in our heads, in our hearts, in our minds. You know, the process of meditation helps us to overcome that madness, that self-destruction, leading to a way of life in which our thoughts and actions are always manifestations of and affirmations of Ma'at in our lives. Ma'at in our lives. Meditate every day. Muada Ashby say, meditate every day. I'm sure there are other teachers, other practitioners that say meditate every day. He says meditate at the same time every day, in the same place every day, if you can, if that's possible. You know, following the pattern of nature, that nature does what it does, essentially the same time, same place. You know, some minor changes as seasons go on, but that's his encouragement for us, is meditate every day. And then when ready, he suggests that we begin focusing on one object, one symbol, one icon, one picture that communicates something to us, one a sculpture, a symbol of a deity. And then chant that name, chant a mantra. Carry your consciousness, carry our consciousness to divine levels as we become one with the divine. You know, then we need to bring that power, that mindset, that consciousness to what Asar Chancellor Williams has laid out for us, that we have largely adopted into our Wose Constitution. And then to do all we can, in every way we can, to be as effective as we can with economic planning and development, with political actions, with educational aims and objectives for all ages and all grades, you know, children and adults, with community services. What's going on in our community? What services do the people in our community need? How can we provide those services, or get on the backs, get on in the minds, in the processes of the government to say, no, this is where we need to be putting the resources to help our people out. We need to bring that power, that divine mindsets, our hearts and minds on Ma'at in the midst of the serpent cause of evil, and say, this is what needs to be done. That's what Dr. Asar Chancellor Williams told us to be about, developing youth activities. What do our young people need to be doing besides punching up those so-called smartphones, playing all those help me, Holy One, those dumb games, getting their minds taken in the wrong direction, listening to self-destructive, obscene, so-called rap music, rap madness. We need, you know, intelligence and security, and of course, spiritual life and assistance. We need to bring that power, that our minds, our hearts, our spirits, our souls stayed on Ma'at. Bring that to reach out to other groups, other churches, and individuals who have similar aims and objectives. We've got work to do. We've got liberation to do. We've got holiness to raise up. And we need to bring that power, our hearts and our minds, bring that mindset in the battle against the forces and enterprises who are destroying the four winds environment that our Creator brought forward to provide the breath of life for each of us, for all of us. I saw a thing this morning. It was talking about all the plastic that's being scattered all over the earth and into the oceans, the tons upon tons every year, and that there's some agreement that 180 nations of the world have agreed upon that we're going to do something about this and find some better way to deal with this plastic. Maybe find some way to stop doing plastic at all. But there's two nations in the world that are not agreeing, didn't sign into that agreement. USA is one of those nations. USA, where they say USA, processes, recycles about 9% of the plastic that's used here every year, and the rest of it is to some poor country that all they can do is say, well, yeah, bring it over here, give us a little few dollars, you can dump it over here in our land, or just taking it out to the ocean. Now we got to do something about the destruction of the four winds environment that the Creator brought into being, so that we can breathe the breath of life. Not only the plastic, there are other things. We need to take that power of in our hearts and our minds and take it into battle to stop the impoverishment of millions of people, not only our people in the US of A. They talk about the poverty levels of Black families in the US of A, especially the poverty levels of Black homes where the women are alone and raising their children. But that's all over this world, where the CEOs, where the corrupt economic operatives, that's what the CEOs in my head right at this moment, corrupt economic operatives hoard and waste the wealth that the great floods that the Most High provided, produce, so that the humble can benefit as well as the others. I've read where they said in the US of A that 40% of the food produced in the USA gets wasted, dumped in the garbage. 40% of the food, and we've got people that just some of them can barely make it from one day to the next with having food on the table. And with this pandemic going on, it's even rougher. So there's work for us to do, and we need to be deeply, strongly, relentlessly, diligently getting mocked into our hearts, into our minds. And with that power, let's do all we can to liberate our people. Not only our people, all people, to liberate our people from that theology of human wretchedness and worthlessness. Do all that we can in every way we can to get them to truly understand what it means to be made in the image and likeness of the Creator, and to bring that power forward for the truth, beauty, and goodness for all humanity, for all the earth, that likeness of the Most High, that image of the Most High, that essence of the Most High within is expected by the Most High, that we bring that to bear on issues of that sort. So to come near the end of this, I want to share something from Asar Dr. Chancellor Williams. You can find it on page 381 of his great book, Destruction of Black Civilization. These words, 45 years ago, what do they say? The task that we now face will test the genius of the Black race. The Blacks in the United States, I think that's talking about us. Blacks in the United States are in the best position as a lead-off example for the rest of the African race. For such a movement would further change the course of history and inspire Black youth everywhere, along with their elders, and with a new vision, a sense of direction, and a kind of outlook that gives meaning to study as a source of invention and new discoveries. The challenge to the Blacks of this continent is to overcome the centuries of their own American version of tribalism and disunity. We've got to work together. We've got to, Christians, Muslims, atheists, we've got to work together. We've got to work together. It's their greatest challenge in this era of perpetual crisis. This is 45 years ago, Dr. Williams was giving us these words. The problem is still here. We've got to do more, we've got to do better. They will accept it if they have come to the understanding that at last that equal rights and equal justice will never come from the appeals to the mighty and granted as an act of grace, but only from their own position of power and influence that develop from a united people engaged in great and vast undertakings of their own. It's in our hands. It's got to be in our hearts. If it's in our hearts, we can get it done. We've got to come together. And if we can be, the example for the rest of the African world, if we do it right here in the US of A, on this continent, whoo, what a call, what a challenge. We can share with folks that we will say, we've done some stuff. Yes, we did. We come together with some Ujamaa economics and we're able to buy our own facility. Yeah, we did. We come together with some Ujamaa economics. We were able to finance our own school until our own school got to the place where it's turning around and financing the church. It's all good. We're all together. We did some awesome work in the spirit of might when three sisters in our community said, no, we're opening up this school. Y'all can keep talking about it, debating on it if you want to, and listening to those people that tell us we don't have enough resources stored up. No, we've got the resources in our hearts, in our minds. Mott is living there. We need this school for our children. And it's been here, how many, 35, 36, 37 years. We can share with them that we've done those things, but there are more things to be done. There's more to be done as we keep our hearts and minds on Mott and overthrow the serpent coil of evil. So we've got to rise up, we'll say. We've got to rise up and know that there's more to do. We've got to rise up and find those organizations, find those groups, find those churches out there. That church right on the corner of 90th and Holly that brings that food programming. I don't know how often they do that, or every month, or every 2 weeks or whatever. There must be some work that we can do with them to help them do what they do, because they help us, don't they? I understand that one of the things they do is provide some food for Ile Omo Day. There's more to be done. Find those groups in Oakland. I guess the same kind of challenge in Sacramento. Find those groups that are endeavoring to do the kinds of things that the spirit of mind inside tells us that we ought to be doing to overcome the serpent coil of evil, to overcome oppression.
Ashe.
And if we reach out and work with them, we will get some things done. So that's the word that has been given to me. We got to keep our hearts and minds on Mott and the serpent coil of evil to overcome that ongoing destructive stuff that will keep us down forever and a day. Keep us down forever and a day. And then we can rise up and say, oh, beautiful, beautiful Amin-Ra. Beautiful Amin-Ra, shine on me. Till my heart and soul are one with thee. And your beauty comes from within me. The teachings of our way say there's no beauty like the beauty of unity in Mott. Oh, Amen Ra. Sacred ancestors, help us live that unity with all we've got. Oh, beautiful, beautiful Amen Ra. Beautiful Amen Ra, shine on me.
Sing the song.
Till my heart and soul are one with thee, and your beauty comes from within me. Never will you bene Amen Ra. Never will you bene Holy One. Yeah. How beautiful your appearance. Never will you bene Amen Ra. Ashe, let's keep our hearts and minds focused on my overthrowing evil and Ishvet every opportunity. We've got to be diligent. We've got to do all we can every day we can and not allow anything to waste our time and take us away from following our heart in the spirit of Mount to the end from the beginning. Ashe, Ashe.
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 Thank you.
How beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beauty comes from within me, Minister Mxolisi. As the elder, emeritus minister, has told us and gave us the message, keeping our hearts and mind on Mot. He talked about the 4 good deeds in the book of Knowing of Creation. He told us to be diligent as long as we live. He gave us Destruction of Black Civilization, page 381, that talked about how we can get beyond the serpent coil of evil. And as we are diligent in our comings and goings, that evil is continually working, that it never takes a break, it never takes a holiday. Thank you, Minister, for reminding us to lift ourselves out of the quagmire of fear, ignorance, and superstition into the light of the Creator. We ask now if there is one that would like to come today, that would like to join and like to be official. Would you come today? Would you let us know who you are? Will you raise your hand? Will you speak to us in the chat? Would you let us know if you're ready to join us today? What a beautiful and powerful message, as Minister Alicia has acknowledged in the chat. What a beautiful and powerful thing to dwell on, to go back and read those scriptures, to go back and dwell on Apophis, the serpent of evil, that continues to block out the brightness of the sun. And then he tied it into all of the pollution that's going on, that's trying to block out the 4 good deeds of the Creator. Let us not be a part of that. Let us not be a part of that team, but let's get on the Ma'at team. Let's get on the Ma'at patrol. Let's get on the Ma'at patrol today, sisters and brothers. Thank you, Minister Mxolisi, for such a powerful message. As Minister Alicia would say, for such a time as this. Amen. Ashe.
Ashe. There's a couple other people we haven't mentioned today. Sister Mona Hall is here. Who else did I see? Sister Aziza is here today. Sister Nikichi is here on this, and Mama Thandiwe is here. Those are some of our regulars, our diehards. I don't see Baba Kofi today. I'm gonna have to give him a buzz, see what's going on.
I'd like to sing a song. I see Sister Jill was on, and her mom gave us a song in Sacramento, and it goes like this. I'm so glad Wose lifted me. I'm so glad Wose lifted me. I'm so glad that Wose lifted me. singing power to the people. Wose lifted me, traducers had me bound. Wose lifted me, traducers had me bound. Wose lifted me, traducers had me bound. Wose lifted me, singing power to the people. Wose lifted me, singing power to the people. Wose lifted me.
Shay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, how about if we open this up and let the sounds of Ma'at come in and play our national anthem, lift every voice so we can bring this portion of the service to a close. If I can get that songful family, that soulful, songful family to come in and lead us in
Lift every voice and sing to earth and heaven. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as a rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. They sing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Now to them who is able to lift us up faultlessly before the throne on high. May they empower us to be a people with one aim.
One aim.
One aim.
One vision.
One
One
vision.
vision.
One faith.
One faith.
One destiny.
One destiny.
One love.
One love.
One heart.
One heart.
One God.
One God.
Let us call upon the name of that one God, as our ancestors and elders have done for countless generations, for time immemorial. Let us all say together,
Amen. Ra.
You are the most beautiful
people
on the
on
face
the face of this earth.
Bless you.
Ashe, ashe, ashe.